Darc and Moody, Moody and Darc. It's been real from the start. Speak the truth, then you playing your part. Nothing fake here. We've been real since daycare. Some change, some stay there. Came from the streets, we speak for the streets, we speak for the youth. Nothing but truth. Feel it in the booth, feel it in your soul, feel it in the cell, feel it on parole, feel it on probation, feel it when you free, totally free. Pardon me, till they pardon me, till they pardon we. Positivity from negativity, back to positivity. The podcast for the streets, helping you eat. We live by the code, we live what we speak. We revolutionize real love, honor, respect, loyalty, educating the masses, bringing unity. It's all or nothing. The podcast for you and me is Darc and Moody. We the voices of the community.
I hear voices right now. I can hear them just as plain as day.
Yeah. What's up? This your boy Darc.
It's your boy Moody, man.
You know what I'm saying? This Darc and Moody, all or nothing.
All or
You know what I
nothing.
mean? We keeping it moving with the women. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all on our live, the next 10 episodes is gonna be women. You know what I mean? So this season 3, episode 3, and it's our third woman guest on our show. You know what I mean? And I want you to tell our peoples what your name is.
Chaquanza Stevenson.
You know what I'm saying? AKA Q.
That's right. Fancy Lady Q.
Fancy Lady Q in the building. You know what I mean? You got a question for my Lady Q? For Fancy Lady Q?
Fancy Lady Q.
Yeah.
How you say your name again?
Chaquanza.
With a C.
Chaquanza. It's like the holiday Kwanzaa with
Chaquanza.
the Chaquanza.
Who named you that?
Mama. Her name is Shaquita. So she says she wanted it to be something close
My daughter
to her.
named Chaquanza.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I never even knew that. You never even told me that.
Yeah, my oldest, her name's Chaquanza.
Oh, okay.
Chaquanza.
Got it.
But hers with an S. You know,
Oh, okay. I'm a CH.
Yeah, she S.
So the Q come from?
There's a Q. CHAQ.
Oh, see.
Come on, man.
Not
Come on.
Kwanzaa with a
That
K.
was a brain fart right there, Moody.
No,
That's a brain fart, man.
Kwanzaa.
Yo, how many people you know? How many Chaquandas you know?
People call me Chaquanda, and I have to say Chaquanza with a Z.
And most Chaquandas go by Quanda.
Oh, okay.
And it's a Q most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, childhood, it was always Kwanzaa, Kwan.
Yeah.
But I go by Q. It's just easier for me.
Facts.
Easier in corporate America, too. They can't really pronounce.
Yo, you know, you kind of favored, I started watching Insecure. You seen that show?
Oh my God, I get this all the time. Molly
Carter. You look better than her, but you kind of
I get
favor
this
her.
all the time. And
I've
I've never seen
Have
the
you
show.
seen that show? Yo, it's a show called Insecure. Yo, I've never watched it, heard about it. Issa Rae, shout out to you doing your thing. That show good.
I heard so many. This is the second time today. So I guess
you really favor that girl. Like it's crazy. And she's Nigerian too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and her real name Yvonne Orji.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Orji. Orgy. I ain't want to say orgy because it sounds like some free shit.
What else she playing? What else movie she playing?
All I know her is from that.
Yeah.
And she's slim, got the hair, got y'all like really, really favor. It's
she
crazy.
got big eyes, she got big teeth.
Yeah, y'all favor each other. It's crazy. Like y'all, if you played in a movie, you could probably be her sister, like that, or she could be your sister. I don't know.
People say that, and personality-wise, like our personalities are.
She's a lawyer on the show.
So I wanted to be a
bought
lawyer.
her bag.
Yeah,
and her homegirl like finding herself.
I take it as a compliment. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just started watching the show. That's why I never said that to you before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, look,
the people that, that's it.
You ever looked her up?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know exactly who she is.
Yeah.
I get it all the time. I get it all the time.
Word. Yo, so boom. Let's tell my peoples how Chaquanza with the Q and the C grew up. Tell us how you grew up. Like, what type of household did you grow up in? Was it loving, mother, father, just a mom? Like, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm from Stamford, Connecticut. I grew up in a 2-family household. Mom and dad, because things get different these days. There's moms and dads and dads. But mom and dad, I'm one of 4. I'm the second oldest. I'll be 32 next month, actually. But very loving household, community oriented, family oriented. My dad's Jamaican, my mom is Black. So that
Hold up.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
My dad's Jamaican, my mom is Black.
I mean, what's the difference? Black is a color, not a nationality.
So when I talk about where I come from, I do claim Jamaica because that is where I have roots. So if you were Hispanic, I guess, or if I were Nigerian, if I were Ghanaian, I'm Jamaican. So I don't just claim Black American, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense a little bit. And we ain't gonna get it all into that.
Yeah. So my nationality. So my
Yeah.
race is Black, but my nationality, I'm Jamaican.
All right.
That's the difference.
Yeah, because I'm big on personally, like the our African ancestry, right? People, the boats went many places. Puerto Rico, like that's why my wife want to get to Nigeria because Louisa, they're all Nigerian over there. Like they trace their backgrounds to Nigeria and Louisa. Like most people are darker than me over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I need to do that test. I think it's like 23andMe.
yeah, my little sister did it, and most of her background is Nigerian.
Okay.
My little sister that I share with my dad.
Okay.
I didn't do it. You know what I mean? We'll find out like how you know, how much percentage. I think hers was like 82% Nigerian.
Okay.
Something
so
like
real
that.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nigerians are proud people.
Yep. So I'm trying to I don't know. I got the 23andMe test, but I never did it.
You never did it. You gotta do it. You got it with you at home?
I have it, but I think it expired as far as like the price and all of that.
Okay.
I bought it in like 2018 or something like that.
Yeah.
And never
You
used
gotta do that right away.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to go get another one. They got the African Ancestry.com too. That one. If you heard about that, you could do that and see. Yeah, but I'm big on because I go places like you go to Colombia, you see dark skinned people. Go to Mexico, you see dark skinned people. You go to Jamaica, you see dark skinned people. You go to Barbados, you go everywhere. Like most places you go in the Caribbean, it's dark people, it's Black people. So when I say Black people, we Black people, but you know, you got your nationalities,
right?
They different. So I'm a Black American, but you're a Black Jamaican or a Black Puerto Rican or a Black. That's how I look at it. So we all the same.
I'm still Black. We still Black.
No doubt.
But I'm Jamaican and you're not. That's the difference.
Right. But all right, so we grew up in a 2-family household. Let's get back to that.
Yeah. One of 4. I'm the second oldest. Again, I'll be 32 in August, August 7th to be exact. And yeah, my parents.
Birthday.
Oh, you got a great birthday. Team Leo. It's Leo gang. Okay.
Leo.
So yeah, it really, I mean, with the parents that I grew up with and to have, they did the best they could with what they had. And I think they did a phenomenal job. From the community aspect, that's a lot of why I am the person I am. From the work ethic and just the passion and compassion that I have to give back. So
you grew up with a silver spoon or a plastic spoon?
I would say it was in between. Middle class.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have it all, but we never went without. Let me put it that way. And if we had to go without, we didn't really know. Sometimes we did.
But project people would have been like, yo, they rich.
Exactly. Let me put it this way. I grew up in a house. So all I know is a house. I didn't have an apartment. I didn't have, to ride a city bus. They always had vehicles. So I would say we were more on the privileged side.
All right. Shout out to that. You know what I mean? So how was middle school for you? Let's go back there. Let's dive into middle school.
So middle school. I went to Cluna Middle School. It's actually funny that we are talking about this because we're going to have an event with them August 26th. So we're going to be welcoming, and this is our nonprofit, we're going to be welcoming incoming 6th graders. But I grew up on the west side of Stamford, so one would say it's pretty rough, especially during that time. So corner stores, hanging out. I was one of the kids that would hang out with the bad kids, quote unquote, but I knew when to go home. So I didn't get in trouble, but I would hang out.
You the one that got away.
I was the one that got away.
Yeah, you knew better.
I knew better. My older brother he didn't know better. So he would get caught up and he served some time and, he's out now, but I knew better. And then when I was really getting into trouble, my family made me volunteer. And that's what kind of set me apart. But anyways, I went to Cluna Middle School, great middle school. I mean, again, it's a public school. And I don't blame any one school system. I really think it's what you do at home. So any child that's only learning from school is a failed child. So that child should be learning something from home other than what the teachers are doing, because it's not just the teacher's responsibility. So I knew to stay on honor roll, not because of what the teachers were doing. I just didn't want to get a beating, but I also knew what was right and what I wanted. So
right. Shout out to the honor roll. I was an honor student.
That's good.
My whole life.
You got transcripts?
Yeah, I don't have them personally right now on me, but I was an honor student. My freshman year in high school was my only bad year.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, we don't get these transcripts, Darc.
Nah, word is mine. I got invited to all the honor dinners. Everybody who know me, they know. I'm a genius, man.
I mean, listen, but your
word is mine. I was an honor student, dude. My freshman year, the only year that I ever seen outside of like a B plus ever. My freshman year, and I was all E's. We in middle school we got E's. We didn't get A's in waving. So it was,
what does the E stand for?
Excellent.
Excellent.
Oh, okay.
So I got straight E's.
What is ES?
Is N's, is S's, is S minus, S plus, and E's.
Okay, so satisfactories, non-satisfactories, excellent.
Excellent, yeah.
Okay.
So I was an E student. Like I was straight E's.
I was not available.
Not satisfactory.
Not what do you call applicable?
Not applicable.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
He was that guy. Yeah, in my freshman year, I got an A, and then I got an F in all my other classes because I didn't go to class. So I went to my first period class. Then I went to gym, lunch, study hall, home, my whole freshman year.
Oh,
so I got 2 A's. I got an A in math and an A in gym.
Where was the academics? I don't understand.
I didn't go to class.
So the rest was F's, so you got 2 A's for the things you did do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then my mother kicked me. Well, I got kicked out of that school. My mother put me in another school where I didn't know anyone. So, I went to class.
And that's the smart thing to do. So after middle school, I didn't get to go to a public high school because of everything my brother did. I immediately had to go to a private high school, and I feel like it worked, and it definitely changed my life. But I don't think that I needed it because, again, I knew when to go home and when to separate myself. He was a knucklehead, so I didn't know anybody. My mom had just had major heart surgery, so it was difficult because I was going to this new Catholic school, so it wasn't even like, it was completely out of my element. I didn't know anybody, and then immediately after school, we would drive to New York to go visit her in the hospital. So it was a really, really trying time. And I think like a year later, my brother had got arrested for his first bid, which was 6.5 years. So
was the Catholic school? It was an all-girls school?
No, it was co-ed.
Y'all wore the dresses?
We wore the skirts, the knee highs, the everything. I had a priest. I never had a priest before. We said prayers, our fathers before every class.
Let me hear it. How do I go?
I can say it.
Say it.
In English, and I can say it in Spanish.
I want to hear it. Come
Which
on.
one you want me to
Both.
do? And Lely, Lely, you listening? Because I'm about to say it in Spanish.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear it.
Okay. En el nombre del Padre, del Hijo, del Espíritu Santo. Amén. Dios te salve María, llena eres de gracias. El Señor es contigo. Bendita tú eres entre todas las mujeres, y bendito es el fruto de tu vientre Jesús. Santa María, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte. Amén. En el nombre del Padre, del Hijo, del Espíritu Santo. Amen.
All right, now
Stop playing with me, Darc.
Now break it down.
Stop
in English.
playing with
Break
me.
down English.
Break it down in English.
All right, that's the Our Father.
Yeah.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Y'all know that. But the
know.
Spanish part, that's the good part.
Yeah.
Like y'all
I
ain't
mean,
expect me. Y'all didn't expect me to do that.
Yeah, you freaked it. You freaked it.
And I hope Lely, you know,
she probably
heard
did.
me.
Yeah, word up. And while we on that topic, I want to shout out La Isla Spanish Restaurant. You know what I'm saying? 2779 Dixwell Avenue. La Isla Spanish Restaurant, 2779 Dixwell Avenue, Hamden, Connecticut, 06518. You know what I mean? We got La Isla. That's the wrong joint, but it's right there at the sideline. Give me the big one. Give me the big one. There we go. La Isla.
En el nombre del Padre, del Hijo, del Espíritu Santo. Amen.
Word up.
So you ate from La Isla before?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So tell me.
And
I
she
feel
don't
like
even
I
eat
saw
out.
you during the grand opening.
Yeah, I was there.
You were in scrubs, I think.
Yep,
that
that was
day.
me.
Yep.
That
I
was
saw
me.
you.
That was me working.
I came with my dad that day.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite plate from there? And the reason why I ask is because I don't know really nothing about Spanish food. So I go in there, I tell V and them just, put something on my tray for me.
Oh man, I've had the beef stew, I've had the chicken stew. The rice is always a hit. I've had empanadas. I'm not gonna lie, I've been there 3 times, but then she catered for one of our events, so I got to taste a bit more. But
so give me a tray. Give me a tray. So when I go in there now, I'll be like, I want a cube. I want a cube.
The beef stew is real good.
Okay.
The potatoes.
You're a beef guy, right? You like red meat.
Yeah, I eat.
Yeah, and get the beef stew next time.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So boom, we at Catholic school. Now,
We in
what was
Catholic
what was the best part about Catholic school, and what was the not so good thing about Catholic school?
I would say the best part was being able to see the other side, right? So growing up on the west side of Stamford, you're in a Black household. There's certain things you do, certain things you're not privy to. Like our conversations are more of, was the mac and cheese good at Thanksgiving, right? Their conversations are, what's the next investment? What are they going to do? What the family has down the pipeline, And I was able to hear certain things. I was able to see students come to school in brand new Hummers and Audis and all types of cars. And I'm like, wow, my parents can't barely afford to have those things. And you guys are my age and your families are able to do that. So being able to see what was on the other side and just out of my environment, I guess, was a blessing, because after that, I went to the University of New Hampshire, which is a predominantly white institution. And I originally wanted to go to an HBCU, and some days I have regrets and some days I don't. But I was on a college tour, and somebody told me I wasn't going to get a job because of my name. So I said, okay, my name is Chaquanza. It sounds, if you could, phonetic, ghetto. And then you go to a HBCU, which at the time wasn't like a really big thing, So I decided to go to a predominantly white institution because I wanted to be able to secure a job. I wanted to change, that generational wealth gap. And I wanted to make something of myself, essentially. I was the first to go away, really, in my family. No one has gone and finished. No one has gone and went away out of state. So I was the first of many to do, or the first of all of us to do something so grandeur. But there was a big culture shock. So when I was in high school, it was like 8 students, no more than 10 students that graduated that were Black out of our senior year. So now me going to the University of New Hampshire and I'm sitting in a lecture hall of 250 people or so, and I'm the only Black person. It's like, wow, I thought I could be used to this because I went to a Catholic school. I know how to deal with y'all, but that was something complete. It was like a culture shock out of this world. And then being in New Hampshire during that time, people told me, it's going to be racist. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. But I didn't believe it because I'm like, I went in 2009, Barack Obama was president. So I'm like, I'm good.
How many times they called you Michelle Obama?
They didn't call me Michelle Obama, but let me, it gets really deep because there was a student there that said he never saw a Black person in person ever. And this is 2009. So I thought he was lying. He's like, I've only seen Black people on TV. Yeah, it's like a different world. So I'm like, whoa. So freshman year, I'm a double major, political science and justice studies. I thought I wanted to be an attorney. particularly a criminal defense attorney, because my brother, I feel like he did do some things. He was a knucklehead, but he didn't deserve the time that he got. So I felt that I could change that whole narrative, becoming an attorney. Anyways, I got a 3.42 my first year. So I hit the dean's list. I was doing really well. And my second semester, freshman year, I got into an altercation with a Caucasian male. And he decided to tell me Black people smell, Black people look like animals. Bad, right? Yeah, I had to change it, but they smell. I was only there on a scholarship because I played a sport, which I did run track in high school, but wasn't good enough to take it to college. And I wanted to solely focus on academics. So I was not there based on academics. I mean, based on athleticism. But he just said a whole bunch of stuff, said the N-word, everything. So he was doing everything to antagonize me. And I think at that moment, I had to find myself, because the West side of me wanted to knock out all his teeth. But I knew if I did that, I would no longer be able to be in the school. So the Trinity Catholic in me, and being wholesome and seeing the other side, I said, you know what? I'm not gonna disrespect him. I'm gonna educate him. So I'm never gonna be that person that lets somebody get to me and get me out of character, at least not in public. So I just told him, well, Black people don't smell. I don't smell. And he was like, well, all Black people congregate in the dining halls. You know, you guys all eat together. And I'm like, well, if you look around at every other table, it's all white people. But that's not an issue, right? You know, we're sticking together because we're a small community here. Mm-hmm. There's a Black student union here. He's like, yeah, well, there needs to be a white student union. He was going hard. So I'm like, okay, well, if you want it to be a white student union, then you can create one, because the Black student union was created by Black students. But at the end of the day, I knew exactly what he was doing. He was trying to antagonize me so that he could report me, get me out of the school, and it'd be history, because they wanted it to just be them. So what ended up happening that semester, my GPA went down severely because I was traumatized by it. My dad, he was like, you need to get a gun up there. And I'm like, I can't carry. I'm going to get kicked off. I lived in the dorms. He was like, well, then you need to come home. You need to transfer to UConn. So my dad was furious. My mom, she was like, it's what you want to do kind of thing. But I said, I'm going to stick it out. So I decided to stick it out, and I reported him. When I reported him, the hope was that it would go against his code of conduct. So meaning he wouldn't be able to be on campus. He could possibly be kicked out of school. He wouldn't be able to study abroad because he wasn't a good representation of the school. They brought me through a series of mediations in which he was still using the N-word in the mediation. My best friend to this day, she was in that with me, and she cried for days. I'm like, sis, you got to go to class. Like, we got to keep going. You know, we just never experienced anything like this. But I kept fighting, and I fought so much that I was able to change the bylaws in the school. And now, if anything said like that, discriminatory, if you will, if it's not just in a dormitory and it's said anywhere on campus, it will go against one's code of conduct. So that small change helps students across the campus, other students that look like me that would normally transfer.
How many Black kids are in New Hampshire school right now in that college? Still,
I wouldn't know. At the time, with undergrad and graduate students, there was like 14,000. And in 2009, when I was there, I think there was like 140 something Black students. So there wasn't a lot out of the 14,000. So like 1%. Definitely 1%. Definitely 1%.
So let me ask you this question. That guy, right, and all the things he did, where do you think he got that from? Them views.
What?
So this is 2009, 2010.
2009, yeah.
And all this supposed to be, and I know you saying you're going to say it comes from the household, right?
Absolutely. It's learned. It's learned behavior.
That household, it's 2009, so you're still teaching your child that.
So let me put it this way. Did y'all see, and maybe not, but there was something on Instagram recently where this young kid went to this Black family's home with a whip at the door. Okay, I'm gonna have to show you after this. But literally, he goes looking for their daughter with a whip. First of all, where did he get the whip from? Mm-hmm. It's like a whip that on the plantation type of whip, and you could hear it like at the door. So
that's some old freaky mama.
Yo, it was crazy.
He found it from his grandfather.
You see what I'm saying? So she had like one of the Ring cameras, and she was like, "Little boy, if you don't get away from my damn door." And when she opened the door, he was still there. And she was like, I will call the cops. And he's standing there looking at her like he don't give an absolute F. Okay. So that's learned. Nobody's child is coming to your door with a whip and you are a person of color and they don't know what it means, right?
His family probably like, you gotta whip these niggers. Probably said that to him.
And probably so. And what's
And he
crazy?
and he thought it.
What's
his
crazy? Me and husband the other night we started watching the movie Roots because we're getting ready to take students to Africa, and we're trying to date back with history and just get acclimated with stuff, and just looking at things that happened back then. It's learned behavior, and some of them they can't help it because that's all they know. Right. So again, when we talk about the dinner table and we talk about mac and cheese and they talk about investments, but they might also talk about all the free labor they got and all the inherited land that they're passing down and how they were able to do so. When they're learning those things, sometimes they don't have the ability to unlearn it because no one's teaching them the right, So I think, again, bringing it back to New Hampshire, after being able to do that, I was able to fight. It took me 2 semesters to fight this, to get the bylaws changed. And within that time frame, I also encountered a racist professor. So again, I told you freshman year, I was on the dean's list, and I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm not dumb. When I got one of my exams back and it was fully written, one of my politics classes, I got a 44, like below a 50. And I'm like, it doesn't seem right because I know.
Never happened to me ever.
Well, I ain't gonna say, well, no, I've never got a 44. What the hell? So I'm like, I got to figure out what happened. So I went to his office hours because I wanted to make sure that I could properly prepare for the exams coming up because I'm on the dean's list. Like I can't be getting 44s. And my parents are, proud of me. They want me to stay here and I also want to do well. So I go to his office hours, and right before I get to the door, another student goes, and he's Caucasian, and he goes in and he asks the professor, how can I prepare for the next exam? So the professor goes, study this, it might be true and false. Study this, it might be short answer. Study this, we might use it for multiple choice. All these things. So I'm outside of the class jotting everything down. And at the time, there was this pen and this pad. And whenever you write, it records. And whenever you hit a certain part in the notepad, it brings you back to that, whatever you're writing and hearing at the same time. I forgot what the name of the pen was, but it was really cool. My mom spent a lot of money on it. But anyways, so I'm writing all this stuff down. It's now my turn to go into this man's office. I go in the office, I ask him the exact same questions. Hey, Professor so-and-so, I got a 44 on this exam. I really want to do better on the next one. I still don't understand this. Can you break down how I got this grade, but also how can I prepare for the next exam? He goes, here's a link. He opens up the textbook. Here's a link. Go on this link and see what it helps you do. He don't tell me nothing about true false. He don't tell me nothing about short answer, multiple choice, nothing, right? So from that, I knew he was immediately trying to fail me. Like he did not want me to pass his class. So I went to my dean's office and I got a petition to drop from his class. So the next class before it happens, I go to his office hours and I say, Professor so-and-so, I want to drop from your class. So when I hand him the petition to drop, you know what this man said to me? He looked me dead in my eyes and he said, it's a wise decision you deciding to drop my class. Just like that. So in my head, this man was definitely going to fail me. He was, like it's game over. So it was a turning point for me to see how easy the money is paid, tuition is paid, right? But he's going to dictate what grade I get off of nothing because it's written. So I can't go back and say this person had this and I had this because everybody's answers are a little bit different, but you're also not willing to help me in your office hours. So at this point, I knew I was really going to struggle at the university. But I decided to stick it through. Actually, the next year, I was able to pick up the McNair program, which was for scholars. So I had 2 majors and I picked up a research program, and that allotted me the opportunity to go and study in Ghana. And what I did was a comparative legal analysis, basically on the war on drugs. So I did the sentencing guidelines. So how the war on drugs had indeterminate sentencing guidelines here, and then what was over in Ghana. And so 2011 is when I made my first trip to Ghana. So I would say, as much as I regret not going to an HBCU, I had a full experience at the University of New Hampshire. So I had my majors, I had my study abroad, I had extracurriculars, I joined a multicultural sorority, I babysat on campus, I worked on campus. So I did everything that you could think of to stay involved. So I don't regret it. I think it definitely made me the person I am today, but I went through some shit to get where I am.
Could a Black person be racist or is it different? Because you term it something different.
I love this question. We can never be racist. We
You
can't.
heard this question before?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You heard that one before, Moody?
Yeah,
Could a black person be racist?
yeah.
What do you think? We could be prejudiced.
See that's a new word for me. That's
We
a new
could-
word for. I go with prejudice. Yeah.
We could be prejudiced. The thing is,
But you can't be racist.
No, and we're already the minority. We're already the oppressed. So we can't be racist against, like, they're, deemed as superior, but at the end of the day, we were always the oppressed one, right? So we're prejudiced against them, but a lot of us, and how do I say it? And in my household, I wasn't taught to hate white people. It was never a thing. It was you love everybody unless they wrong you, right? But in their household is white is right and dark is bad. And there was a teacher that did an experiment with students, and it was a white doll and it was a black doll. And she asked all of her students, which doll is better? And most of the students picked the white doll. And they were black students, they were white students, they were Asian, whatever they were, but the white baby doll was deemed as better because it's something that's learned. Like, where did they get that from?
They got it from indoctrination. Like bad guys wear black. It's bad luck when you see a black cat. If blackmail when you're doing something to somebody, it's called blackmail, and it's a lot of stuff that put a bad stigma on black.
You know, like one of the best part of the Malcolm X movie is when he in prison and the guy give him the book. And he tell him to look at how they define white and how they define black.
Pure and all that. Yeah.
That's like the biggest scene from when he became Muslim.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's indoctrinated. It really is.
Yeah, so no, we can't. The fast answer is no. We cannot be racist. No, we can't.
So what black college you wanted to go to?
I wanted to go to Hampton University. My number one choice was Howard, but when I went to visit the campus, it was just too spread out. It didn't have like the college feel, if you will. It just felt, I don't know, it just felt like city vibes, and like I walk and I'm on campus, but then I'm over here and it's not campus. So I wanted something more campus like Hampton U. I think what got me, and my biggest regret is not being able to join a Divine Nine, is when I got to their yard and they were strolling and you see all the sororities and fraternities. And back in the day, I used to step. I was a stepper, and we made it to the McDonald's Gospel Fest, like semifinals or something. We were really good. And I wanted to continue that, and I couldn't do that at the University of New Hampshire.
I asked that because my son, he wanted to go with Howard, but he didn't get in, so he ended up going to Morehouse.
Okay, that's still good.
Yeah, Morehouse costs a lot of money.
It do.
Hey, yo, listen, my son wanted to go to Howard. I brought my son to Howard, right, on the tour, and he loved it. Loved it. And he got accepted, and he was giving him a scholarship, but it wasn't like a full ride. It just was a couple of thousand off. He would have still had to pay like $200,000
for the full 4 years.
Yeah. And he got a full ride to UConn. So I said, yo, listen, I'm not paying $200,000 for you to go to Howard and UConn giving you a full ride. You want to pay $200,000 for the experience? Man, we would go visit some brothers in the hood. We would go somewhere, go visit. Listen, UConn giving you a full ride. It's about education now. If you want to go visit the campus and all that, like, we know people, you could go down there, but you getting like UConn gave him a full ride. Like, I only had to pay $5,000 for his college, and everything else was paid for.
Well, I still got student loans, but I'm gonna die with them student loans. I'm not never paying them back, whether Biden fixes it or the administration.
I thought he got it.
No, it's still.
You robbing back.
You put that shit on record, right?
Put the gun up.
And I'm not never paying. I'm not never.
You just said off the muscle. I ain't paid. Listen,
no.
They gotta come get that.
They gotta come get it.
Yeah, they can
but
come
now,
get
listen, you got a husband. You know, God forbid anything. You know that debt is going to.
Oh, I'm sorry, babe.
Look, he was over there like, what you mean you ain't paying this shit?
You ain't paying what? Word up.
No, the hope is that we won't have to pay that back. So,
I think Biden's gonna handle it.
Yeah,
he's trying to handle
something
it right
out.
now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I hope.
Yo, that dude came when my son was there. My son was either he was a freshman or a sophomore, Dude came and paid the whole senior, a billionaire.
I've
Paid the
seen
whole,
that,
paid the
yeah.
whole, all the
this-
seniors.
Yeah.
Your
I
son
said,
was there?
Yeah, but he only did it for the seniors. I'm saying he was a billionaire or something like that.
What was he? What grade your son was in?
He, I think that was the second year, so he probably was a sophomore.
So he was too young.
Yeah, he
You should have busted that nut 2 years ago. Yeah. Word up. So where we at now? We in New Hampshire.
We in New Hampshire. Yeah.
Word.
So now it's around 2010, 2011, because I'm entering my junior year. So I'm going to Ghana to do this comparative legal analysis. And I'm writing my proposal to go. And as I'm writing the proposal, I pick a Black professor to help me. And she shit on me bad. 7 days before it was due, she dropped me. And I had got to revise and resubmit. So what that means is your proposal can either be accepted, you can get a revise and resubmit, or you can be denied. I got to revise and resubmit. So with that, I had to go back, make some edits, tweak it a little bit so that it could be.
You ain't just say twerk.
I did. Tweak it a little bit so that it could be approved. And she dropped me. So I had to go and get a Caucasian professor that I got an A in his class. And he was actually a lawyer. But here I was trying to keep it all together. There's not many of us here. I know I'm going to do great research. And it didn't really work out.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What you think her reasoning was for shitting on you?
You know what? To this day, I don't know. I went to meet her in her office. I didn't read one of the books she wanted me to read. Mind you, I had 2 jobs. I had 2 majors. I just picked up this research. It wasn't that I was not going to read it. It just I hadn't had the chance yet, right? So when I met with her, she was so stuck on me not reading this book that she was like over it.
She ain't like you no more.
Yeah, she was just like over it. So I could understand it. I think it was definitely more than that. But yeah, so long story short, I got up with my professor. I got an A in his course that previous semester. He gladly took it on. He was actually a JD. So he mentored me all the way throughout. We did the revise and resubmit. We got approved. We're heading to Ghana. So
if she denied you, you wouldn't have been able to go to Ghana?
No. So when she dropped me, I had 7 days to revise and resubmit and find a new mentor that was going to commit to, doing the work with me and whatever. And it's not an easy task to take on because they still have their own workload and course load and students and other things. So for somebody to do that, they have to really want to help you. And he did. And to this day, love that man. I won't say his name, but we're friends on Facebook. When I came back from Ghana, I got him a kente tie right out of Kumasi, where they do the kente right with this like wooden machine. It's crazy. But he wore that tie when I had to present when I came back. So that was really cool. But so now we're in like 2011. I get to Ghana. I was like 18-ish. Yeah. And I'm experiencing the motherland, and it's different, right? Because when I was growing up, we saw Feed the Children. We saw kids in poverty. We saw big bellies and flies and huts and dirt. And why would you ever want to go to Ghana? I mean, or Africa for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing there. We never saw beaches. We never saw wealth. We never saw gold. We never saw oil. We never saw resources. So for me, it was like, yeah, I'm going to go do this work in a third world country, but I'm not going to see anything good. I'm actually scared. So I get there. There's a big sign that says Akwaba, which means welcome. President Barack Obama's face is there because he's in office at this time, as well as the sitting president that was in Ghana at that time. I can't remember his name. But I'm able to experience a lot. One of my biggest takeaways there was visiting the slave castles, which I won't go too deep into right now, but you got to get to Ghana and learn your history, where your people come from. And
now, I need you to tell the people about what you're saying, because I just heard it. Come on, give me some of that.
All right, I'll give you some of that. So basically, when you get to this slave castle, it's about we stayed in Accra. It's in Cape Coast. It's about 3 hours from Accra. And you get there, and it's serious business because it's the original flooring. So you can smell your ancestors. You can see it. You can see the hidden passage where they would take our women up to rape them. So that's where the mulatto people came from. You could see where they would tie our people to cannonballs and leave them in the sun and beat them. You could see the door of no return. So when they're shipping slaves out to never return, you can see the female and male dungeon where they were holding our people captive. But there was one room in particular that was life-changing for me. So I was in a tour group of about 15 people, maybe twice the size of this room, definitely a higher ceiling, but a window maybe this big all the way at the top, like top left, if I can remember it correctly. He closed the door behind us, and this is like June. It's not even that hot. I think January is like the hot time. But he closed the door behind us, and we're all sweating, like we are burning up, and it's only 15 of us. And he's like, imagine hundreds of you packed in this room. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, and I'm not claustrophobic. I'm none of that. Like, I'm skinny. I was skinnier than this. I'm fine. And so we're sitting in there, and he goes, now imagine, and he tells us to look around the room. There's a line around the wall, and it goes all the way around, and it's like a little below my knee. So maybe like this high. And he goes, do you know what that signifies? And I'm like, nobody knows. And he's like, that's all the feces and urine and bodily fluids that our people were sitting in, because there's no restroom, there's no food. So they're throwing up on each other. They're using the bathroom on each other. They're dying on each other. It's hot in there. Like,
that's wild, man.
When you think about what our people had to go through and where we are now, it's almost unbelievable. So I've been like 3 times now. And every time I go, I'm more and more shocked and wowed. And I learned something that I missed the first time. So when a tour guide's taking you, because your mind is like, this is not real, you miss stuff. So you got to go a couple of times. But the last time that I went, I took a picture in front of the female dungeon, and I smiled. And I had on my Africa shirts, I had on some shorts, I had on some Nike Prestos. I remember it like no tomorrow. And this Black lady wanted to curse me out. She was just like, how could you be smiling? Our people were dying here, and just going ham. And I had to let her know, ma'am, I've been here before. I was just as sad as you my first time, but this time I'm proud. I'm proud to see where our people have come from. I'm proud to see where our people are going. And I'm proud to see how we were able to come up out of this. Like, when you see it, you wouldn't even believe that we were able to build things like Black Wall Street. Mm-hmm. How could you do that when our people were illiterate? They were working for free. And now they want to put in textbooks that slaves were treated well, which is another story. But when you go, you just really, when I came back, and I'm so thankful that I had the ability to go in 2011 at such a young age, because coming back, I had this sense of belonging. I didn't shy away from being deserving of anything, but also people take for granted the little things, like turning on running water. Because I had to shower there with no hot water for months, which was different for me. I ate different food, but not the cultural food, because I didn't really, I'm a very picky eater. But to see the differences in cultures, I wasn't able to experience that before. But just to be able to come back and say to the kids now that I work with, there are people that would die to just have the shoes that you have to get to school, to walk 6 and 13 miles. And you don't want to go to school because you don't have the latest J's. You don't want to go to school because your hair's not done. You don't want to go to school because your nails aren't done. When these kids are dying for the opportunity just to be in your position, they wouldn't miss a day. And being able to take back those stories and let them see pictures. We brought cleats one year. We partnered with the Play and Learn Foundation, and we sent Christmas gifts, and we sponsored 2 students with new cleats. And one of the students had 2 mismatched flip-flops on. And we flip-flops here, we go to Old Navy, we get them for like $1. We think it's nothing, but he's got on mismatched flip-flops, and one of them are pink, but he doesn't care. He's doing whatever he needs to do to be, so just being able to experience those kinds of things and bring it back to our kids here is different. But I think one of my biggest takeaways there, as I was studying law, one of the newest law books was from 1991. I was born in 91. So it was very, very dated. And not only that, when I sat in the law room, imagine I'm talking like Sudan, Black, African, really, really dark, wearing a white wig. So like they still follow British rule. So it was crazy because it's like, wow, we came out of slavery, but y'all are still following the oppressor. Like, where's the independence? But to see somebody so dark in a white wig, it just looked funny to me. So that was definitely a big takeaway outside of seeing poverty, but also the beautiful things, outside of seeing the slave castle, but also beautiful things. And I don't want to, you want me to talk about it, but I can't make it short.
Nah, it is what it is. You could, you know what I mean? We did what we did. We're gonna have to fast track a little bit, but Africa, a beautiful place. They don't understand. A lot of times, like what's the dude named Omar Gaddafi? He was trying to make a united Africa. Like if it was like a united Africa, like it was a United States, they'll be the world superpower. Because Africa made up to how many hundreds of countries?
54 countries.
54 countries. So it's 54 countries in Africa. I probably could name them because I studied that a little bit, and I say hundreds. But if those 54 countries became states and it was governed by one rule, like not, I don't want to say rule, but like if you had like a, democracy, Congress and the House and
kind of like
president, here. Yeah, if it was like here and everything was under one currency, it'd be crazy because all the natural resources over here. You got the gold, you got the oil, you got diamonds, you got the most diamonds, you got everything that's tangible, that's worth something there that everybody all over the world are fighting and going crazy for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't try to do me like Gaddafi. I'm just speaking it. I'm just talking about it. You know what I'm saying? But it's real like that. It's real like that. But boom. If Chaquanza Stevenson was an animal, what kind of animal would she be? And
a lion.
I know you're gonna say
I'm
lion
a Leo.
because you're a Leo, August 7th, right?
Yes.
And break down why outside of those things, like why you feel like you'd be a lion.
It's the lioness that hunts, right?
True.
And when you think of women, we created y'all, right? We created y'all.
Man and woman created.
You came from a woman.
I came from the seed of my daddy's nuts.
You came from a man from that rib.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
That rib you took.
Did your dad push you out?
No, he pushed me in. He pushed me in.
Y'all gave us that.
Moody, he didn't push me out, but he pushed me in. That became something powerful.
See, y'all trying to play. Y'all know what I mean. Y'all cannot carry children. Y'all can't.
Y'all fed us.
Y'all bodies don't change to accommodate to carry children, right?
It doesn't.
I don't have kids. One day I will. God will bless me. But at the end of the day, I'd be a lion.
Yeah, you'll be a lion. You'll be a lioness.
A lioness.
And if your husband would be a lion, he could have a pride too.
I mean, he could be a hippopotamus if he wants.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you gotta let him choose his own. We might not want to be a lion.
Whatever he want to be, but I'm gonna be a lion.
Yo, you know what? Lions got prides, right?
Yeah.
And it's like 40 lionesses in a pride, and it's 2 lions, 2 male lions.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. She know what I'm talking about too. Don't do that. Because you're a straight A student. You're a genius. Don't do that.
I didn't say straight A. I said I knew when to stay on honor roll, and I said I was on the dean's.
3.4.
But we didn't get the 3.0, the 4.0.
All right.
Yeah.
So tell me something dark in your life. Something that's dark. Just give me something dark.
Yeah, you ain't gotta make dark bad.
Just something dark, something you would consider dark. A dark time in your life. Give me a dark time in your life.
That's deep. I would definitely say when my mom got really sick and had to get heart surgery. Heart disease is like the #1 killer for women. And she didn't know
people,
it. Like, yeah. And she didn't know it. So her dad died of a heart attack. He had 8 heart attacks, but he died from that last one. And she didn't even know she had any type of heart defect or anything. So there was, and this is getting deep, but my brother was being a knucklehead and he stole her Escalade and she went chasing after him. And when she got back home, she passed out, like gone. I thought she was dead. My younger sister, she was like 6 at the time. She was taking her pulse. I'm screaming at 911. My younger brother has to come and grab the phone from me. And we don't live too far from the hospital on the west side. And I'm like, just come. She's not breathing. And, you know, with like, as I can remember it now, they're like, we can't understand you. You have to calm down. So my younger brother takes the phone and I'm just panicking. And I'm so angry with my older brother because to me, he was the cause of this. So as I'm going through this dark time, they finally get there. The medics take her. They told us that she immediately has to go into surgery, but they can't do it. So they had to bring her to Columbia Presbyterian, which is actually where Bill Clinton had his heart surgery at. So we get there and what was it? Like 3 or 4 rooms down, a lady had just died from the same surgery that my mom needed. So we were really nervous. This is the first time I ever saw my dad cry. And the doctor came in and he told her, you know, we don't think you're going to be able to have kids. She's like, I've got 4. So we're thinking like, what does he mean? And he's like, it's like impossible. Your insides would have just exploded, but that was God. So again, when I was taken out of public school to go to Catholic school, it was trying because now I got to deal with a priest. I got to deal with kids I don't know. I got to deal with privileged kids, but I also now every day after school have to go visit my mom in the hospital. So it forced me to grow up. I used to sleep in the bed with my dad some days because again, I've never seen him that weak. I would be getting my siblings ready for school. But if you ask my siblings now, they were like, you always try to be somebody's mom. You're nobody's mom. But I felt like at that moment I had to step in because my mom wasn't. So that was it was a really dark time, but everything happens for a reason, because if my brother didn't do what he did, we would have never caught that she needed that surgery for her heart disease. And I don't think I would be the person I am today. So I don't have kids, but I do a lot of work in the community because of my parents. But a lot of it is because of just what I had to do growing up.
All right. He got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Tell me something Moody.
Oh yeah, tell me something. Oh yeah. Moody, yeah.
You know, it's Darc and Moody. It's Darc and Moody. Tell me something dark.
Tell me something nice.
Give me something that puts you in a mood, whether good mood, bad mood, or just a severe mood where you just are moody. Give me something Moody.
Sometimes I'm a really humble spirit. So there's 2 spectrums of the Leo, like teeter totter. And there's the cocky and there's the humble. I feel like I'm the humble side, but I feel like because I am so humble, because I am so quiet, I'm often looked at as the underdog, and people take my kindness for weakness. And when they do, it forces me to be somebody I don't really want to be. So it's like, when you put me in competition, I'm gonna make sure I win, kind of thing. But also it puts me in a mood to like level up on myself. So every day I don't really look to my left or my right to see what anybody's doing. It's really just, how can I be better than the day before? So whenever I feel like I'm challenged because of something somebody said, oh, you can't do that. You tell me I can't do it once, I'm gonna show you twice, kind of deal. But whenever I feel challenged or like somebody taking my kindness for weakness, I get in the mood where I just gotta go full throttle.
Oh yeah, so you switch gears.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna do something I never done before on the show. I'm gonna throw out some words. I'm gonna throw out a word, and you just the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Black.
Me, my family. What I'm about to create.
One word.
One word. Oh.
Black.
Me.
Power. First thing that comes to your mind.
Wealth.
Family.
Love.
Crisis. Don't think it. Just blurt something out. First thing.
Emergency is when I hear crisis.
Podcast.
Talking.
Happy.
Proud.
Love.
Loyalty.
Leo.
The lioness.
Time.
What is it?
Time.
Endless.
Kids.
2.
Dope.
Power.
Point.
Transportation.
Queen.
Me.
King.
Husband.
All right. Gotta be a little bit more quicker with that. We adding that to the show.
Hold on. You got that too? You got that number 2? Oh, you ain't hear that number 2.
What?
Kids too.
Yeah.
That came fast.
Oh, that's all we getting over here.
No, I'm saying that he hit that number 2. He probably been like, hold up, I thought we was gonna do 1 or 5 or 5.
We talked about it.
Five.
Yeah.
5. All right. So boom. We know you went to school for law. What did you wind up graduating for? What was your major? You majored in whatever, but what did you get your degree in?
Political science and justice studies. So I thought I wanted to be an attorney. Didn't happen. 9 to 5 HR. So the attorney piece came from my brother. I wanted to be criminal defense. My senior year of college, I studied in Maryland. So I was at the Office of the Public Defender, and they were working like 80-hour weeks and making no money. And maybe because it was the public sector, but excuse me. I'm like, I can't do that. It's just not worth it. But I had to serve subpoenas. I went to crime scenes. I think the 2 things that really broke me is a crime scene where a murderer was able to come out. And when he got off from that murder charge, he murdered his girlfriend and her son. When they found both of them, the son's skull was in 22 pieces in the woods. His body was inflamed so much it looked like he was stuffed in the woods. So looking at the little tray numbers, I couldn't sleep well. And then the other one was I went to the apartment where this woman, she moved on from her baby's father, and her new guy was there. The baby father came in, stabbed him all throughout the apartment. So it was nothing but blood and everything. And it was just so gruesome. I'm like, I can't do this. And so the last thing I had to do was, 2 more things. I had to go into a crack house, and I feel like that was a setup because it was me and one other Black intern. And the investigator said, I can never get inside this house. And so we're thinking this is going to be fun. We don't got no gun. We don't got no mace. We don't got no backup. We don't have anything. So we get to the crack house. He waits in the car. He makes us go in. Now, when you get there, and this is, I feel like I don't even know where we were, but we were somewhere in Maryland. When you get there, the door was all dented up where the cops just literally bust the door down. So he opens the door. He sees that we're Black. My homegirl, she has on her hoodie and her book bag. So we look like we coming to get something. He lets us in. He closed the door behind us immediately. We get in. There's a mattress on the floor. There's drugs everywhere. The back room is open. It's guys everywhere. So he's like, who sent y'all? And we got nervous. We just told him everything. Like, this is what's going on. Da, 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 da. He's like, yeah, he been trying to get in here. We're not saying all types of stuff. He let us out. He didn't touch us. He didn't do anything. But when we got out, we were like, to the investigator, you set us up. That was danger. Like, we literally didn't know.
Y'all could have been killed.
Literally. So my last thing was a subpoena I served at a hairdresser salon, and she was blowing up my real phone, like threatening to do, like, you don't come to my place of business. I'll be like, so I'm like, whoa, this is just too much.
Yeah.
So that's what turned off my criminal defense side, and I figured I'd go to the corporate side. But then I'm like, that's kind of boring. So I ended up in HR. I made more money than the lawyers in the law office. So I don't think it was a bad idea. I just think that my real passion is working with the youth. So how do I deter them right now before they get, where they're going? And that's how I actually met Lord. When he was incarcerated, we were writing back and forth, him and a few other inmates. So that's been my passion.
All right. So I know something about that. So you started a thing called Dope.
Mm-hmm.
You started a nonprofit called Dope.
Took it from dope, literally, but also the kids, they changed it. It means like, yo, that's dope, that's hot, that's sick, that's whatever. So I wanted to use,
acronym now.
Right. So it stands for Don't Oppress People, Educate. And where that came from is that same Caucasian male that was oppressing me in school, we turned around and we educated him. So that's where it came from.
So what the logo for Dope look like? Explain Dope.
Yeah. So the logo, where's my key? It's somewhere on me. I always put them back of me. But the key
Dope.
Educate. So everybody's an educator, but it's a city skyline. So with the key, I always tell the students, you are the key. What will you unlock? So giving it to them, like what are you gonna do? What in the world? What powers are vested in you to unlock something? And it's a really powerful question because a lot of them don't know. They don't know what they want to be. They don't know what they want to do. It's just they haven't been exposed to certain things. And when you put it in their hands, do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you want to work in corporate? Do you want to, do certain things. And being a person that has been able to do that, I can show them from both sides. So I went to college, right? I did the right thing. I got good grades. I got a good job. I worked at places like WWE, which is that the wrestling company? It's like, yeah. But then I became an entrepreneur, and my lead driver has been with me for 2 years, did over 16 years with the feds. So when I worked in corporate, I had to deny people certain jobs because of their background. But then becoming an entrepreneur, I'm able to grant people jobs regardless of their background.
Yeah.
And I'm able to show students that as well. Like, you don't have to go to school and get a regular job. Like, you can become an entrepreneur, or you can pick up a trade and be a truck driver and make, decent money and a living. So I'm blessed to be able to do that.
Hubby, I need you to go talk to my engineer right quick.
She not.
I need you to go talk to her right quick, my engineer, because I need her on point right now.
Oh, the logo. Yeah. So with trucking,
I want to see the dope logo.
Oh, the dope logo. Yeah. That's the city skyline with the key, the dope key.
Dope.
So the key looks like that's Point Transportation.
All right, here we go. Point Transportation. Tell us about Point Transportation.
So there's dope.
All right. Don't impress people, educate.
Yeah.
One more time with dope.
So dope, you can see the skyline, you can see the key. The key stands for educate. So the power is vested in the students. You are the key. What will you unlock? When you look at the key also, it looks like it's blossoming. So I like to say that I was planted. I'm a seed, and I'm always going to grow, whether you water me or not. But with the kids, giving them the key to unlock anything is what's dope, pun intended. So.
All right. And now you talked about being an entrepreneur and providing jobs. So tell us about Point.
Yeah, Point Transportation Logistics came about because I said, this was during COVID. I want to change, the narrative a little bit. There are a lot of people getting into trucking, but trucking is a white male dominated industry. But trucking makes the world go round. It ain't doing the best right now.
It still make the world go round.
It still make the world go round.
Nothing without trucks.
Yeah, so we specialize in flatbed trucking. So we move around heavy machinery, bricks, lumber, all types of crazy things. But things that build places like this, right? We're bringing in the sheetrock. We're bringing in the 4x4s. But anyways, so that was supposed to be to move away from work. So, okay, how do I stop working? I use this to, prioritize my life, but then I'm able to do dope full time because the passion is my youth. My passion is giving back. So that's what trucking was all about. But it was also to break the wealth or the generational wealth gap that I've seen in my family. So again, we've come from humble beginnings, 2-family household. I would say middle class, always grew up in a house, but we've seen some hard days, right? So how do we change that? How do we generate this wealth and sustain it, really?
It's going to happen. You're going to make it happen.
Eventually.
I know you're going to make it happen. I see it. Tell me about the Queen Me thing.
Oh, She's Crowned.
She's Crowned.
She's Crowned, yeah. So She's Crowned, that's a 7-week course that we do. So we talk to high school students. We talk about self-love, higher education, financial education. That's us.
Oh, look at my wife over there.
Yeah.
Queen.
Financial education. Anything you could think about. So basically all the things I wish I knew at their age that I didn't get a chance to learn. Things that school is not going to teach you, how to balance a checkbook, how to pick the right college, right? Because if your college is way overboard in terms of price, maybe you should go to a community college first, or maybe you should go to a college that's going to give you a full ride, because it's not about where you start, it's where you finish. And the most thing that you'll probably miss out on is the dorm life and the first year experience. But outside of that, we're just teaching them things that we wish we would have known. The biggest thing is self-love and individuality. I feel like a lot of our girls struggle with being themselves. And then right now with the wake of social media is these bodies, this body image, the hair, the nails, the butt, the boobs, is forcing them to be older than they should be. And we want them to focus on loving themselves. I grew up with Aaliyah, right? Aaliyah was natural. Aaliyah didn't have big boobs. She didn't have big butt. She, those things didn't exist then. And I was just fine with my rapping set, right? But now they got to have 30-inch wigs and all types of crazy things.
We seen one of your kids today.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
From your program.
Okay.
And she doing a t-shirt thing.
Okay,
She on her entrepreneur wave, and it was dope to see that.
that's
Dope. It was
good.
dope.
That's good.
Crown her. Yo, I feel like that story you told about the black lady, not the black professor, not holding you down, played a part in this in some form of fashion, whether you realize it or not. Because her not doing for you like she should have seemed like you doing that for
others.
For
You
the
know,
other
I never even
girls.
really thought about that.
Because when I heard that story, and then I was thinking, because we've known each other for a little while now, and I seen the crown me thing, and that I immediately went there. Immediately.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but yeah, I mean, we got to take care of our people. We can't be crabs in a barrel. And my biggest thing is, if I have the knowledge, why not share it? What am I do with it? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much at the top that I feel like what's for me is mine. What my heart's desires, God has already set that aside for me. So I don't really try to harbor information, and I don't really try to hold people back. If anything, I feel like once we work together collectively, we're on the same agenda. If you're eating, I'm definitely going to eat. And that's just how it goes.
So yeah, I feel like, this was a great interview. We had fun. We a little long-winded. It's all good. It was excellent for us to have another dope woman on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Season 3, episode 1, I had my beautiful wife. Episode 2, we had Tia Reinhardt, who's a counselor therapist, and now episode 3, we got you. So, season 3, episode 3, 33. That's powerful, man. We and this was a great interview for us.
Yeah.
Gotta promote it though. Put it out there. Let people know. You know what I mean? We gotta. Our people's promote. We promote. You're gonna get our viewers, but we gotta get some of yours too.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Let me know when it's ready.
Friday. It'll come out Friday.
Okay.
You got something to say, Moody?
Nah.
I know you got to make motion, man. So yeah. This Darc and Moody, all or nothing, man, and we out. You know what I mean?
Gotta go.